Alrighty, let's get started. Here's my reference photo, my pre-illumination Seth. I found it on Unsplash. For this particular painting I'm going to crop in the reference photo really tightly because I want to get the golden ratio to frame the painting. The golden ratio just makes it look much more visually appealing. And if you'd like to know more about it, just let me know in the comments below and I can do a future video about it. The other reason I want to crop in tightly is because I had done the reverse of this couple in 2022. Same photographer, obviously, and so I wanted to have a matching set. And this time just do it purely in pan pastels rather than what I'd done before. So we're going from that couple, that side of them, to this side. And we're going to begin with what's called the dead layer. It's just charming, isn't it? The dead layer. The French say it better. They call it the grey layer. And I think it's pronounced grey, maybe? Grey. I don't know why they don't pronounce the S's and L's. I used to work in business improvement, and I'm sure we would have got rid of unnecessary letters, saved them a lot of paper and ink. Anyway, before we get too far into this grey layer, I just want to do a shout out to Roxana. Roxana's got her own channel here on YouTube. She's a life coach, so if this particular video upsets your equilibrium, go to Roxana Aliva and she'll get your balance back. She got my balance right because she used Buy Me a Coffee and got me 5 coffees. So thank you very much, Roxana. So this grey layer, what I'm trying to do with this painting is discover a set of colours from the pan pastel range that I can consistently use with confidence when it comes to doing skin. And there's lots of skin in this particular painting, so I've got a really good chance to discover the colours. And while I've got 2 sets of greys here, there's 2 colours. There's Payne's grey down below and there's neutral grey above. I found I was pretty happy just with the neutral grey. It came out much warmer than the sort of blue tone of the Payne's grey. I thought I'd give you a little bit of history about pastel, seeing as we're in the dead layer and sometimes history is viewed as a bit of a dead subject. Why not, eh? According to Met Museum, pastel was first used in the 16th century, and one of its earliest adopters was Leonardo da Vinci. And I find it kind of funny that I'm editing this video using software called Da Vinci. How about that? Pastel video. Da Vinci's still involved. Pastels are a very vibrant medium, and it doesn't yellow with age. Oil paints may have a resin in them, and resin goes yellow with age, but pastel doesn't. It just maintains its vibrancy because it's a very finely ground pigment, and the light is reflecting off that. Oil artists will often use a white canvas, and I've read that Dali used to paint his canvases 10 to 15 times with layers of bright white gesso, and he would sand back each layer and then put another one down, and that would give the effect he was after. Because what happens is light comes in, and with oil painting it's translucent, so the light goes all the way back to the canvas and then bounces back, so that whiteness behind will actually illuminate the other colours. And if you don't want light refracting, then use black or grey. I'm using a dark blue pastel matte paper, which I've put a wash of black gouache over it, because I'm going to end up having a much darker background than just the paper itself. Most pastelists won't use white at all, don't need it. Well, look, I've come to the end of this grey layer. You can see I've just got the tonal values, and I've mapped out what the picture is going to end up looking for or looking like. There we go. The first layer done with neutral grey, and we're going to move on to, can you believe it, a green layer. In Italian, I think it might be pronounced verdaccio, verde, green. And this is an unusual technique. Leonardo da Vinci himself, we go back to Leonardo, he used it in the Mona Lisa. And what happens, as I mentioned with light, maybe it was more of a physics lesson than a history lesson, but that light, as it bounces back from the canvas, it's going to pick up the green. And of course, most artists will put a red over the top of it. You know, red's often used for skin. I guess some use sienna. But the green underneath makes the shadows and the look of the veins and bones just so much more realistic. And while I don't go for realism in my paintings, you do want the skin to pop, to look alive. So that's why, you know, we're going from the dead layer, and we're starting to bring the painting to life. Although I guess it looks like, you know, it's going to look like two hulks dancing with each other, unfortunately, for a little bit, as they go very green. Pastel as a medium is opaque. Except when it comes to panpastel. And I mean, panpastel is pastel, it's just ground up a lot finer, and about 10 times finer than a pastel stick. And it's got, because it's so fine, it's got properties of transparency. And if you're not heavy-handed, you're just gentle, you can use these little applicators, and the colours underneath will shine through, just very similar to oil painting. And this is why I'm doing this particular painting in layers, because normally what happens when you do panpastel or you're using pastel pencils, because it's opaque, it's made up of hundreds of thousands of little strokes. And it's very much like looking at your phone. You know, even as you're watching this, whatever screen you're watching this on will be made up of lots of little pixels, all of different colours aligned together, and some complement and some contrast. And your eye doesn't see all those lots of little pixels, it sees the image. And that's how pastel paintings work. Lots of little strokes that all together create the image. But with panpastels, you'll see, you know, here I am using this like a palette knife, and just laying down the colour on top of the other colour, and which is showing through. So it's very unique medium, and this painting did take me about a month to do. Part of that month, of course, was just being too scared to do the next layer. But generally, it's a fast medium, the panpastel, and there's no mess. You know, some people avoid pastel sticks. They love the look of pastel, but they don't want any dust and mess. Look at that. Oh, where's the mess? There isn't any. So you don't have to put any barrier cream on your fingers. You just pick it up and away you go. It's very easy to use. So the green layer, as I said, that's complementary to the red, and it will make it pop later on. We're going to go on to the mid-tones for the next video and get some details in. I hope you're going to tune in for the next layers and see how it's possible to actually do a painting with pastels in this sort of layering with the pens. And I've still got the painting as I'm filming this. It's not quite finished. It's nearly finished, but I've been really impressed at how it turned out. So there we go. We've got the grey and the greens. I hope you've enjoyed this particular video. As I said, next time mid-tones. Until then, I hope you enjoy being creative. Thanks for watching.